Well, greetings YouTube. One of the biggest things that I get asked with my John Deere over here is how did it hold up 2 years later? So we're gonna have a quick look at that, and I'll give you my thoughts on how it's done so far, some of the things that I like and don't like. Alright, so here's the 2020 John Deere E100 that I have. I've had this thing since it was brand new in Canada, and again I'll say Canada, it cost me $2,700. I know down in the States you guys get a lot more deals on the price and whatever than we do up here with the conversion and all that fun stuff. Everybody loves to tell me that I overpaid, and then they realize that I'm from Canada, so I don't put the John Deere oil filter on this thing. I put a Fram on there. It's good enough. It hasn't blown up. It runs fine. I'm gonna do the third oil change on it here coming up soon. 17.5 horsepower. It's the single cylinder engine, works fine. This property here that we're at now is very flat. Our old property was absolutely not flat, and it was hills, and this thing did just fine. The grass is way too long. I just got eye surgery done, and so that I don't have to wear glasses anymore, and I haven't really been allowed outside yet, so gonna mow the lawn today and do a little bit of a review on this thing 2 years later. So the paint is just starting to bubble on the mower deck. That's pretty new, hasn't happened yet. I also don't really do a fantastic job on cleaning this thing. I've used that port like twice, to be honest. I did put the right amount of oil in it. I check it, it doesn't burn any. I've only greased it maybe once or twice. Other than that, I've used it as a tool. The blades are way too dull and they need to be sharpened, and even then it still cuts the lawn totally fine. So, these things are lawnmowers, not much of a lawn tractor. It'll pull a little cart, and that's about that. So Alright, so I guess to go over some of the features on this thing, it just has a simple transmission with the front, neutral, reverse. This is a water bottle only holder. Everyone's called it a beer holder. Mine's never had beer in it ever, and it won't. Up here, dipstick and oil fill, air filters in there, battery obviously. Other than that, don't really need to worry too much about it. Headlights. It's funny, I never thought that they would actually be useful, but if you get working late at night, it can come in handy. So this one you could attach like a snowplow to it if you wanted to, but I personally, two-wheel drive, I don't think it's heavy enough for that. I usually mow mine on 3. Over here you can select between 4 inches, 3 inches, and down to nothing pretty much. You can take the decks off these. I haven't done that yet. And apparently on these ones, there is, gotta figure out where it is, these things here, the whatever that shaft is that rotates this pulley, when the belt gets engaged, apparently they wear out. I'm sure that plays normal, but I guess it's not really perfectly greasable, the bearings in there, and I guess they can wear out. This one has the 2020 plastic axles. They haven't broken yet. The transmission apparently is completely plastic, like the outside casing. It's not leaking anything. It seems to be totally fine. So that is about it. Headlight control switch is down here. When you start it, you just go like that to start it, and then you turn it back 1 key for the headlights. I usually just run it without. I don't actually know how to reset the service maintenance minder, but that's right there, and the hours on it as well. And then you probably saw me hit the mowing and reverse button. It's just a spring-loaded button that you press. Otherwise, the mower will die if you try to put it in reverse without holding that down while you shift into reverse. And then your throttle, choke. The very first video I did with this, I didn't bother to read the instructions at all, so I left it in turtle and then threw the PTO engagement on, and it died. So what you have to do is you have to put the throttle all the way up, of course, then engage the PTO. Pretty simple, but if you don't know that, you don't know that. This only functions as a brake, and this is just your forward pedal. It's just a throttle only. It's a CVT transmission in the E100, probably going to be the same as the S100 as well. So you can only do so much with it. Everybody seems to swear by the hydrostatic transmission, and maybe it'd be nice to mow at one consistent speed, but to me it doesn't really matter. So if you need a cheap-ish lawnmower, the entry level is fine. A couple of weird things with it, like the tires aren't that good quality, and I have leaks in both my front tires, but I just pump it up every couple of mows and it's fine. Fuel gauge, it bounces around a little bit when you're riding it, but it is accurate and it does work. It's actually fairly good on fuel. I get probably a couple of mows on an acre of lawn, per tank. That's not too bad at all. So, and as far as the cut goes, like this grass that we're mowing today here, we're talking like heavy rain all day long yesterday. Way too long a grass. I usually don't let it grow this long. So I did pass over this with dull blades that have been chipped from brush hogging it. The cut of the grass, it's more ripped than cut. And that's just my fault. It's just a maintenance thing. I have to get around to taking the raising the deck and taking off the blades and sharpening them properly. And also the grass is just kind of wet, but I mean, it throws pretty good, and the bagger system's like $500, so that kind of sucks. And I don't think I'll bother with that. It's better to put it into the lawn again, in my opinion. This guy here is kind of funny, but if it's in gear, if you pull that out, you can wheel it around. I've got the e-brake on right now, so it won't do it. And then you just push it in and you're good to go. Same thing, I think if you start it up and try to move it by putting it into gear, I think that might suck in. So I'd recommend buying it. It's a pretty good machine.